You can give me your opinion. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Real Therapy. The only place to be, guys. International week and all that. We already seen that Nicky Bot has left Man United. Man United world still continues. Welcome, Saeed. We've got Oli Bumbaye within a group here that I've got, and I've got them waiting on a couple of more to drop in. But we're gonna go straight into the Nicky Bot leaving Man United. So, as reported says, Nicky Bot has basically left Man United after being there for quite a while, and Nicky Bot was the guy who was doing the job that what's now being given to Fletcher. And basically, what that means is that Nicky Bot was a development. Manchester United Youth and Development, and he was doing the pathway for youth players to be able to go into the first team. Saeed, welcome.
Yes, man. No, they make your screen so it's like so it's a bit more advanced. No, the free, the other one. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Screen it is. Learning on the job. Here we go.
That's it, man. Come on.
Like only gonna social people. Learning on the job.
Learning on the job. But at least you're doing a better job. You know what I mean? But
yeah. I don't know about that. So basically, we're just talking about Nicky Butt at the moment. We're waiting for a couple of people to come and jump in. We've got a really interesting show for you tonight, guys. We know what the problems are. We know the Ollie inners, the Ollie outers. We know what's going on at Man United, but tonight we're focusing on solution, which we'll come to that later on. But now we're discussing the Nicky Butt situation. Unfortunately, Nicky Butt has left and cut ties with Manchester United. As I was explaining before, he was already doing the job that's now being given to. It wasn't called the technical director, but he was already doing the developmental side of the game in terms of youth players being advanced to go and make their debuts for the first team. And apparently there's been a friction has built up in recent months. According to reports, friction has built up in recent months between John Murtagh and Nicky Butt. Butt made his decision once Murtagh was made Man UFC's director. It's understood Butt could not countenance Murtagh's effectively becoming his line manager. Woohoo! So none of that. Nicky Butt was like, this guy is the smokescreen technical director. I'm off, mate. In a bit. See you later.
See you in a bit, mate.
See you in a bit. I'll come to you first, Saeed. Give me your opinions on Nicky Butt.
Listen, man, it's getting a bit of a shambles now. I think the board might be getting exposed, man. Maybe Nicky Butt is kind of telling us what the real story is happening at this football club, man. Let's be real, man. I think Nicky Butt has been snaked, man. I think he's been hard done by. I think he's thought, you know what I mean, who's this Uber driver coming in and started making all these decisions? He's looking at Darren Fletcher. What experience has he got coming in, walking in? First of all, he comes into the dressing room and he comes into Ollie's, you know what I mean, right-hand man or backroom staff. And then it all of a sudden becomes technical football director or whatever it's called, technical director. You know, for me, I would be hard done as well. Imagine you're on a graph. It's similar to any job, man. Some guy comes in with a posh suit on, you know what I'm saying, and then, you know what I mean, worms his way up to the top. It's similar to this, man. Nicky Butt's been there for 9 years, man. As much as we could say, oh, he's not done anything, he's brought a couple of academies in there, man. Menji, that's under his watch. All the guys that you've seen right now, they're under his watch, Nicky Butt. So he has done a good job in terms of promoting the youth. Until we see now, most of them got deals now. Who would have heard of that back in the day? You know what I mean? You only had to be special, man, to make the first team or at least first team development. So I'm looking and I'm thinking, you know what? I feel sorry for him in a weird way. Normally, you know me, I don't feel sorry for these guys, you know what I mean, these legends, because I feel like, you know, they're trying to create that Alex Ferguson vibe when it's not there. But you got to respect Nicky up, but he's thinking, yo, man, let me get out of here, man. These people coming here. You know, I mean, one guy was an Uber driver for Alex Tellers. Another guy, Dan Fletcher, walked in without no experience, man. At least Nicky Butt had some kind of experience, some sort of, you know what I mean, thinking behind him. And he thought, you know what? He's walking away. He's walking away.
I'm walking away. Big up Malcolm.
Aye.
no comments.
He's walking away.
Nicky Butt's walking away like Craig David. I'm gonna come to you, Ole Bumbaye, the voice, as knowing the voice. Give us a bit, like Saeed said, he's been there for 9 years. All of a sudden, Man United, a month and a half ago, bring about a new footballing structure after that's been promised now for the past 5 to 6 years. We had that surprisingly that came, and we knew that year and a half ago the Glazers were thinking about Rio Ferdinand and Patrice Evra, and also Darren Fletcher as well was mentioned as possible director of football and technical footballers. So what do you think 9 years after finished playing, he came back into the club as a coach, and then was the the developmental manager in terms of the youth team, first team development. That's what head of first team development. That's what Nicky Butt's role was. So what do you make about the Nicky Butt walking away like Craig David? I'm walking away.
So yes, from me, Dino.
Yes, that's from you. Yeah. So talk to me.
Evening, Saeed.
Yeah, man, you good?
Yeah, good, man, good. Dino, evening to the intelligent half of Manchester. Nicky Butt, from a sentimental point of view, like all United fans, I love Nicky Butt, and I'm sad to see him go, because he was part of something organic that the club is trying to do, which we have not done to this extent with the manager and the coaching staff and the youth development being. So from that sentimental point of view, it is sad. I don't know too much about the ins and outs. Saeed could be right about this, says something about the people in charge. But on the flip side, one thing that you've been saying, Dino, and I'm not sure if Saeed's been saying it, but it is quite a loud voice, is we need an equitable line of communication between what the team needs and football people in the middle of that, and then at the end, the people that pull the trigger and do the deals. So Fletcher is part of that sentimentality. John Murtagh has got 23 years experience. It could be, a token gesture, but it is a step in the right direction. Is it real? Is it going to pay dividend? I can only wait to see how the next transfer market goes. And what I'm looking for, which I haven't seen from Manchester United, which is traditionally associated with our club, is discretion in the transfer market, is class, the way that we behave in the transfer market. And I'm looking to start going forward, doing the types of things that were synonymous with this club, which is not only signing tailor-made stars and having our, staple of those in the team, but finding rough diamonds and polishing them, finding these obscure players that nobody's heard of, and all of a sudden we've got an Oli Solskjaer or a Kante or a Mahrez. We don't do things like that. We used to find these types of players, if you go back and think. So this is what I want to see in terms of a change with the policies and the behaviors in the transfer market.
Yeah, well, just to go on, I'm just going to read out, refer to Nicky, Butt. I'm going to read out.
You know where he's gone, by the way? He's gone, apparently the reports of that he's got Derby under Wayne Rooney.
Help out with Nicky, with Wayne Rooney, why not? Nicky Butt, having come through the academy myself and almost played 400 games for Man UFC, it's been an absolute privilege to come back and work with a new generation of talent making that same journey. There we go. So that's Nicky Butt. Nicky Butt also, I'm proud of the role everyone and the staff and players in giving our young footballers the best possible chance of filling their potential. And as the results are clear to see an increased number of homegrown players reaching the first team. So yeah, Nicky Butt thinks he's done a good job. But the thing about it, what you said earlier on, Saeed, and I do agree, only time will tell the voice, the ghostly voice, Ali, Ali in the picture, the legend himself. Only time will tell whether or not the John Murtagh, Darren Fletcher is going to bear fruits. Only time will tell. From everything that I have looked at, from everything that
Sorry,
I've looked at in terms of the structure, what I have seen is that the three key holders, because the money men have the power, is Woodward, Richard Arnold, and Matt Judge. They've even had to create. They've even had to create a specific. So they have director of football, which is John Murtagh. Then they've created director of negotiations. I've never heard such a thing in my life.
Exactly.
The director of football, then they created a director of negotiations.
Trying to compensate each other's jobs, really. You know what I mean? They're trying to compensate.
Matt Judge. Guys, there's 49 of you in the building tonight. There's 49 of you on International Week. So, can we please smash that like? Can we please get in the comments and let us know what you think about Nicky Butt leaving? And also, we're going to be coming to get your solutions in, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ain't going, like I said months ago. Well, those who wanted to listen, I said it on Twitter, and I said it on the Straight Jacket podcast, and I've been saying it every opportunity that I get. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So we've heard the news. We've been hearing driplets.
Well, we're going to suffer, innit?
For the past couple of weeks, and we've been hearing the fact that Ole will be getting, it was 9 million, I thought, but now apparently it's 10 million a year.
10 million a year, man.
And they are happy. The club, the board are happy and are impressed by what's going on behind the scenes and what they see out there in football. Knowing that we have three bankers who have zero knowledge. Three of the most powerful people inside Man United are, like I said again, Richard Arnold, Matt Judge, and Ed Woodward. Three Bristol University graduates who are running everything at Man United. No disrespect to the University of Bristol, no disrespect to the people of Bristol, but those three, as long as those three are in charge of Man United, mark my words, ain't going anywhere in terms of Champions League challenging or challenging for the league. And apparently, the rumors are circulating on certain sites, has been reported, the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they reckon, is that they expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to challenge for the league next season. So that is really interesting. And some of you already know, we've been here. Jose Mourinho was finished second place. I think it was like almost 30 points or 25 points behind Man City.
19.
Was it 19 at the end? Okay, it was in 19. Okay. At one point, it was 25. I remember that. At one point, it was 25.
Yeah.
So he happened to be under 20. So well done, Jose. And Jose came out and said that was his greatest achievement in managerial. Not the fact that he won the Champions League with two different clubs, but the fact that he took Man United 19 points behind Man City. And the following Christmas, the next season, he was gone. So the pressure looks like it's been on. Now, to give, like the voice says, we're giving this new regime, this footballing structure, which most of us, more than most, I've been calling for, unless they're pulling five or six players out the hat this summer, 4 of them to go into that first team, Man United ain't challenging for no league anytime soon.
So you know what? So what you have to do then? You have to bridge the gap with the manager then. Simple as that.
Well, anyway, like I said, I just wanted to lay this out. So we're talking about possible solutions. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going anywhere. So I'm going to come to you first, Saeed. Give me 2 solutions, right? Everybody knows your views. The whole world knows your views of what you actually feel about that.
Crazy when you said that. The whole world, you know.
Not that you know. No, actually, in the universe, they've heard
the
you.
Whole galaxy.
The whole
galaxy, man. Yeah, they heard me from Mars, man.
Even Thanos knows that you are. I know Saeed TV does not have any personal issues with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's just bothered about the position of being Man United manager. So everybody knows your view, Saeed. You don't have to repeat that again. We know this is.
By the way, there's before I say this, there's quotes of Darren Fletcher in 2018. I don't know if you see them quotes, by the way, of Darren Fletcher talking about Ole in 2018. That he should have been manager of Man United and he's worried. Just putting it out there. But we'll get to that in a bit, man.
Yeah.
Possible solutions.
Possible 2. So give me 2 solutions that you think can help Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for that. He's here for next season certainly.
You know that.
Go on.
It's like me telling alcoholic, yeah, yo, listen, man, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna give you this drink, it's 80% alcohol. I'm gonna give you a drink that's 40% alcohol, you know what I mean? This is how it's clutching straws, man. I'm clutching absolute straws. Okay, the first one has to be better coaching around him. That's the number one. Has to be under this management, John Murtough, Darren Fletcher, get better coaches around him. That's the biggest one for me because at the end of the day, he says, like Ronald says all the time, he's not a coach. I am just a manager. He says also, I don't have enough time on a training ground. Why is it that you don't have enough time on a training ground? Is it because the training that McKenna is doing, is it good enough or is too time consuming and they can't, you know, function all the kind of techniques you want them to do in one training session? Okay, get a better manager who in about 15, 20 minutes here will get these guys knowing a kind of a style of play, doing drills that are very, very tactical, doing, you know what I mean, transitional play, you know what I mean, working out from the back. That's another thing, working out from the back. Man United cannot play out from the back, man. They've been trying it and trying it. So these guys are probably saying that. So that's the number one, better coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Another one would be, for me, the biggest one, don't say to the board you want these players if you don't like them. That's another one. Alex Tellers. What was the reason for Alex Tellers? You need to say to Ed Woodward or whoever's in charge here, I don't want him. He doesn't fit what I want to choose. Give me a left back who's around 23, 24, you know what I mean, very, very young, who can have the potential to be better. Donnie Van Der Beek signing. Why did you sanction that deal? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you are the manager of Man United. You should say, have your say. Say, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't like Donnie Van Der Beek. He's not my type of player. He's very technical. I don't play a technical game. It's not my type of player. That's so for me, they're the two fundamental things, man. A, better coaches around you, and C, fit your players to your style. Don't just buy any random players. Edison Cavani, struggling. Donny Van Der Beek, struggling. Even if you call it now, matches sexy season, what's happened? You know what I mean? Who else is out there? Bradley Williams, you give him a 6-year contract for what? Twan Zabi, what's going on there? So you have to work at your squad. He's used a lot of players right now that have 1-11, and that's it. The rest is just rest of the best. You don't know what's happening with the rest. So that's two, man. A better coaching team around you, and two, the chemo point, get players that fit your style of play, you know? So that's my two. That's my 2 pence on that one.
Brilliant. So from Saeed, we've just heard from Saeed, better coaching around Ollie. Number 2, do not sign players that the club have picked. Only pick players that you have plans for that you're going to play. And Saeed also gave the examples of Tuan Zabi, the likes of Matic, Brandon Williams, who are not. Welcome, the Mighty Mundo. Welcome to the stream. Tonight, we're talking about solutions. I know your views. I think people have heard your views about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself as the manager of Manchester United. But as the news has leaked slowly and drip-fed for the past month and a half, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be getting what it seems like now a 10-year deal. He's got a year left, year and a couple of months left on his contract. And the club did not want that to be the talking, that issues around that in the press. So they're going to give him another 2 years. So that'll be 3 years. And further 1 more year if he needs to. So that's what the options are, the possible Solskjaer is. So I'm going to ask you now, Mundo, give me 2 solutions, because Ollie ain't going anywhere anytime soon. I've been telling the whole world, those of you who wanted to listen, I've been telling them, Ollie ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So can you please give me your 2 solutions for Ollie, what he can improve on, that would improve Manchester United as a football team?
Okay, I kind of caught the end of what Saeed was saying. So I think the first thing is definitely improving the coaching staff around him. Because at the moment, we lack a style of play. At the moment, we're relying too much on individuals. So when those individuals are not performing, then we get the kind of performance we saw against Leicester. which is crap. So I think improving the coaching staff. The thing is as well is when we talk about the coaching staff, we're struggling. We either struggle to score goals or we struggle to defend, and we never get that balance right. And when you look at the coaching staff he's got around him at the moment, you've got McKenna, you've got Carrick, you've got Phelan. Which of those coaches is coaching our forwards? Which of those coaches are coaching our defenders? None of them seem to be qualified to be attacking coaches or defending coaches, defensive coaches. And we thought that Ollie was coaching our forwards, didn't we? We thought, oh, at least we've got Ollie there, who's coaching our strikers to make the right runs, everything else. But as you said, Dino, he came out on Norwich on TV and said, I don't coach the team. Got nothing to do with actually being on the field coaching our players. So you wonder why players like Martial, one season scoring 20 plus goals, the next season not scoring, well, hardly scoring any. Still seeing some, inconsistencies with players like Rashford. He's not being coached to make the right runs, etc., etc. So we need world-class coaches to support Ollie, especially when it comes to attacking and defending. We need some kind of coaches that have speciality in those areas to improve our team. That's the first thing. The second thing is really easy, and this is down to Ollie's decision-making. Play your strongest team in terms of play your best players in the positions on the pitch where we need to improve. So, for example, simplest fix is to put Eric Bailly into our defence, centre-half. For some reason, even when he's fit, he doesn't get in ahead of Lindelof and Maguire. And we've seen in games, I'm thinking, for example, the Everton game, I think it was the Cup game, we won 2-0.
The League Cup game, yeah.
League Cup game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other games where we thought Manchester United have looked impressive, have looked better, is where we are, 10 yards up the pitch. 10 yards further up the pitch, squeezing the play, on the front foot, pressing. And there's no coincidence that Eric Bailly is the guy playing centre-half. But for whatever reason, our manager doesn't trust him. He wants to play Maguire and Lindelof every game. They drop off deep, put pressure on the defence. So when we talk about signing players, well, we need the manager to pick the right players in the first place. You can sign all the players you want in the world, but if you're not playing them, if you're not playing the Eric Bailly, if you've got a midfield that's not creating and you're not playing Donnie Van Der Beek in the right position, we'll get into that, about whether or not he's a number 10 or a number 8 or a number 6. For me, he's not a number 10, but he always seems to play number 10. So all of these things are contributing to the level of performance that we're seeing. Ollie he's not helping himself by not picking the right team and his strongest players. And for me, as I said, second thing, pick your best defenders. And Eric Bailly is our best centre-half when fit. So I think those two things need to be looked at, really.
Actually, this comes with Leria United. Ollie wanted Grealish, and Ed gave him.
He never wanted Grealish. He never wanted Grealish, man. I hate all this nonsense, man, about what. This is what I mean. This is what Ollie's feeding in. All these little media people are feeding into this narrative. He didn't want his signings. What? It's a lie, man.
It's not. Listen, we don't have any agenda. We have zero agendas.
Man, it's not, man. Where did you get this proof from?
He wanted.
That's hearsay, though. That's hearsay. Come on, man.
Listen. There's images, there's photos and video of Ollie talking up every time United play Villa, talking to Grealish and having a friendly chat with Grealish, and everybody knows there's not secret. That's not one thing that's not secret. So don't let your bias drive you to question.
No, listen, it's not about bias, but it's about logical argument. What you're saying is not a logical argument, man. It's not.
I'm telling you now,
the
biggest thing was that the Glazers, Woodward and that didn't cough up the money. Because
how would he want a number 10 when he's already got number 10 in Bruno Fernandes?
Because Grealish can play out from wide. Grealish can play as a number 8.
I know, but then Rashford was played out wide anyway.
Listen, he can
Where would he play?
Listen, he could play. I've seen him play on the right. I've seen him play on the left. I've seen him play a striker. Let me tell you, Saeed, I'm going to remind you something, okay? Man United used to have 4 strikers. 2 guys who can play in the hole as the number 10s and 2 forwards. Man United used to have about 4 midfielders. You had Giggs.
Yeah, but that's Ferguson though.
Listen, that's what I'm saying to you. So this idea, especially this season, we're playing 3 games a week. This idea that you cannot have more than 3 or 4 good players in your squad, you got to be able to manage it.
Yeah, but that goes against the basis of only what he does, though. He plays the strongest 11 and the same 11 all the time. So for me, it doesn't make sense anyway.
Well,
he doesn't optimize the squad anyway.
Well, let me just recap. You said your 2 were better coaching, and the second one was Saeed.
So better players that fit the style of Oli. So buying players that just fit the style.
Okay. Mundo's was coaching and playing players in the right positions. Am I right, Mundo?
Yeah, playing the strongest players.
Okay.
In the right positions.
Right, I'm gonna come to the voice now. Voice, you've heard the solutions. Do you have possible 1 or 2 solutions which are different from what's been laid out already?
I don't have any solutions, boys. I think we're amazing.
Go on, you must have a solution. What do you think? What are the things that do you think are wrong with Man United when you watch Man United? As a Man United fan, what do you think that the Man United could improve on? Oli, as the manager, can improve on that will make the team a better perform.
Well, look, I as far as on the premise that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to stay, guys, which is very, very realistic at this point. I can't see us not keeping him, and if we don't keep him, it will be a bit weird. In spite of the Ole out and all that, which is warranted, and I think there's credence in what Saeed and Proctor are saying. You know, this is a manager learning on the job, so I think he has made mistakes, and I just hope he's going to learn from them. For me, I think, for example, we're talking about Jack Grealish. I mean, you guys know I absolutely adore that player. He can play across the front line anywhere you like. He can play deeper in midfield, break the lines, and when we're pressed deep, he can carry the ball and give you a respite. He scores, he assists. And if you look at this season, we've all seen and felt for Rashford and Bruno. 45, 46 games already this year. And there's another maybe 15 games coming. And Rashford's been playing injured. Now, if you do have a Jack Grealish in that team, both of those problems are solved. If you think about it. It's difficult to say bring in Grealish unless you want to get rid of a lot of the players. I mean, that's another thing we can talk about, what you want to get rid of. Okay, I'm not just saying go and start buying players, but that is a very talented player. So one of the solutions is I think the depth and the quality of that depth needs to improve in this team in order, one, you know, Bruno starts no matter how he's playing. We've seen Bruno do magic, and, you know, I've got no complaints. He's been a revelation. He's given the team a lift. He leads by example, but there are games where he's so wasteful, and he sees the lion's share of the ball when we have it. But there's nobody to really press him for his position. And you saw what happened without him against Leicester. Rashford also, you know, he's a big player for us. When Marcus is not playing, him and Luke Shaw down that left flank is very dangerous. So I think we need attacking players before defensive players. Because what I've seen in United this season is a lot of the times, because we lack creativity and the opposition can sense that there's not too much to worry about, they become a little bit bolder, take a few more risks, and those risks have paid off against us. So, you know, attack is a form of defense. So I need to see more attacking prowess and, you know, more quality. So you need a right winger and you need a striker badly, a proper striker. I'm adamant, because if Cavani goes, then you've got Martial, that's it. And you've seen what Martial can do. Last year, he was brilliant. You know, it was last year, Rashford, Greenwood, Martial. Are you going to sink? Are you going to swim? They all swam. It was impressive, considering how thin the squad was, and there was no Paul Pogba for virtually the whole year. So, for me, attacking players, man. A right winger, a striker. I think that will really help us. If Paul goes, we should get Jack Grealish. We really should get Jack
with
Grealish.
that one. Definitely.
Okay, but if Paul is staying and you've got Bruno, and Donnie does have a future there, and then you got to think. I don't know if Lingard's coming back. If he's not, then you've got Matic on another. I think he's back. Yeah, he does bring something. He breaks lines, which you can see him now, what he's doing at West Ham. If we had that in some games, it would have been an advantage. Then you've got Fred, McTominay. You've also got Matic. We've got a lot of midfielders. So, in that sense, we've got like 7 midfielders there that are all capable of doing different stuff. So that's one. I need to see players in. And number 2, I just hope with time. I just hope with time that Ollie starts to make better decisions. Like we had the international break coming up. Just start the best team. Go for this game. This is a big thing to win the FA Cup for us at the moment. It's good for the team. It's good for the morale. It's good for everything. It's positive. And he put out Paul Pogba, who's just come back from injury. Donnie Van Der Beek, who I think is great, but you throw him into a game like that, he didn't play well. Disrupted the team, and we've got an international break. Play them. I don't care how they play for their countries. We care about Man United. So things like that, I want to see him own it, man, and learn from it. And, be assertive in those situations and do the right things, and look back at his mistakes. So those are the 2 things that I can think of.
One more. Can I have one more, Nuruddin?
Yeah, of course.
Mine is this.
We need all the help we can get, man. Give us 2 more if you want.
Yeah, I wish, man. Even though I want Ollie out, man. So sometimes I'm giving charity to a lost cause, but we're moving it. You know what I mean? Mine is the 4. So the 4 of Maguire, Lindelof, McTominay, and Fred. That has to go. That little, that square. People call it square. They call it the toxic square, the dangerous square. You know what I mean? When you don't want to be in that square, man. I tell you what, man. That square needs to be abolished next season. If he wants to be here and he wants to be successful, it needs to go, man. I'm thinking this will keep staying. I still believe that this same 4 will play next summer and play next week. I honestly, that's what I'm saying to you. That's why, for me, I'm so hard on the manager. Because for me, he's not helping himself. How can he help a person that doesn't want to be helped? That's my issue. You know what I mean? That's my problem.
Saeed just absolutely made the killer point, right? That square, what you call the toxic square, which gives you the square root of fuck all on the football pitch. Right?
Exactly.
That is what needs to change, because there's no point talking about Grealish when you've got Fred and McTominay behind him, right? There's no point, because you've seen Bruno. The reason why Bruno's ineffective in a lot of games, well, not a lot of games, but in the games where he's ineffective, is where you've got those 2 behind him. He's having to drop so deep for the ball, and then he's getting crowded out of the game. He's getting frustrated. He's giving the ball away, and
absolutely,
it's the core of the team is not right when you've got those 4 players in that square. That is, Saeed's hit the nail on the head.
And then the Wan-Bissaka played out for the back. There's another idea there. Wan-Bissaka played out for the back. Is he a ball play right back? Then you've got, as much as I love Bruno, he goes up forward. Where's the accountability for the manager to tell him, listen, don't just go forward like a striker. Stay back in that role. Help out. Be a disciplined number 10. You know what I mean? There are disciplined number 10s, that used to run around. And, I remember David Silva. David Silva for me was a disciplined 10, man. Even though he did all the technical work or what, he was always tracking back, man. He was always in around there, helping the press. You know what I mean? And I feel like for me, and that's another reason as well why I just believe is I don't know whatnot. But sometimes the manager is also one of the things, and maybe he is a solution. So himself is the reason why, on the footballing side, we're lacking massively. If we had the right team out most weeks, we'd be doing all right, but we don't. And then when he does it last minute against Leicester, when it's all a bit kamikaze-ical, you know what I mean? You're never ever going to get anywhere, are you?
And you cannot press with those 4 players on the pitch. Yeah, so we've got players like Bruno and our forwards who want to press. You've got Donnie, who's press resistant, who doesn't even get on the pitch. And then you've got those four, Maguire, Lindelof, McTominay and Fred. Fred, in fairness, can press. McTominay, in fairness, is press resistant to an extent. But then behind them, you've got those two absolute lumbering buffoons who have got a mistake in them. They've got no energy about their play. They can't press. They drop too deep. So even if our midfield presses, there's a huge chasm between defence and midfield, and teams just exploit that. And just finally on the Grealish point, we can't, as United fans, I think most of us, and I can't speak for all fans, but in the summer, and given the choice of 80 million for Grealish and 40 million for Donny, I think a lot of us said 40 million for Donny. So now everyone's clambering for Grealish because the Donny situation hasn't worked out as we expected. But we can't be revisionist and say, we need to get Grealish, blah, 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 because we all threw our hat in the ring and said, Grealish or Donny. We all said, let's get Donny.
Exactly. Yeah? You said it as well. You said it.
Not me.
I said it. You know what?
I said it. Tell you what, Donny.
And I'll say the reason why, and I've come to eat those words, because obviously Donny's not been given a chance to play because he's a clever footballer, and I thought we needed more of a movement. And I also thought the way Man United want to play, Grealish tends to hug the ball. He hugs the ball a lot. And from when we came back from the coronavirus, the restart, when the restart happened, his form actually wasn't all that. Before that, he was decent, but this season has been absolutely magnificent. And I'll hold my hands up and say he took Villa, and it's just the way he plays and everything the voice said about him has been right. He's been sensational. He's been one of the best players. By the way, guys, there's 120 of you in here. Please,
big up, man. Get a like up, man.
Subscribe. Please share, because we're having real debate. We're having a solutions-based show in here tonight, podcast in here, about Ollie and what Ollie can do. Now, majority of you have given the 2. So I think mine is slightly varied. I think my 2 points that Ollie can improve, because Ollie's not going anywhere, and I've been telling everybody for months now. Somebody like me looks at how the 3 people in power run Man United for the past 7 years. I keep a close eye. My comments are not anecdotal for anecdotal sake. A lot of the things I've said, Saeed will be the person to say if I'm lying or not. But a lot of the things I predicted about Man United has come true. Not because I am clever or I am this or I'm that. It's because I keep an eye on the decisions they make, and I don't get suckered into media framing. I don't fall for the propaganda. I just look at the facts of what Man United are, what's happening on the pitch, and what's happening behind the scenes. Even though I can only give my opinion because I don't exactly know what is going on. I can only take educated guess from former players. A lot of things what Patrice ever said. So Ollie ain't going nowhere, and I predicted that a long time. Man United, I am wrong, and I'm not always right. I did say, like the majority of you, Man United, because I thought that the transfer was disastrous. So because we didn't get the positions that we needed for Man United, and I did say Man United are going to finish 6 or 7. But unfortunately, because of the truncated season,
let me cut you on there. If Liverpool and Chelsea have a slow start, we probably will be on the 6 or 7. We're in a false reality position. Let's not kid ourselves.
If I'm not mistaken, when we did the prediction, I think you had us finishing 4th. I think you did.
4th.
I think I think you had us finished. I don't know where Mundo. I remember chatting to you about it.
We could finish 4th still. We could still finish there.
But make my point. I'll say the 2 things that's improved. I can't see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because we've got boys for the jobs business. So the reason that the gift of what I called it jobs for the boys business, and that's what Man United are. Jobs for the boys business FC. That's what Man United are. That's who we are, and it's clearly to see. And the boys are fighting between each other. That's why Nicky Butler's left, and Darren has come in and took that job. So it's the boys still fighting in amongst each other. the one thing is that I can't see any coaches being bought in. I've been begging for that for a long time. So I want Ollie to do the coaching himself. Then we'll see Ollie's style.
Let
me finish. I want to see Ollie do the coaching himself and be big part of the coaching, because at the moment what we're playing is what Carrick and McKenna learned from Jose Mourinho. That's the football we play at the moment. We don't make many chances. Our strikers don't make many chances. We defend with a back six, Fred and McTominay guarding the back four, and we don't have any creativity in midfield. And my second solution for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going forward is for Ollie to make use of his squad, so that instead of dropping in players from not play 10 games, 6 games, 7 games, having 5 minutes here, there, play and make the possible changes in games. Use your substitution. You are one of the most famous substitutes in the world football in the British game in the last 30 to 40 years. And you cannot make substitutions. One of the reasons why I had any gripes against Poch becoming Man United manager, because Poch waits till 70 minutes, then makes 1 or 2 changes. And Ollie has gone from that and gone extremely the other side, where he's not making any changes at God in certain games when we're struggling for some sort of creativity. So that's what I would want. So because I'm a believer, and most of you, if you do your research, you find out how conditioning works in the lungs and in the legs. Most footballers need 3 to 4 90 minutes of football to get match fitness, where things become second nature. So you're not even thinking about it. You go in, you're turning, you're twisting, you're making that pass, you're making that run, and then the players to build those connections, those triangles. The best teams always build triangles. There's a 3 always playing and putting together the style of play, the team, and the way the tempo the team plays. So that to me is my system, because Ollie ain't going anywhere anytime soon. The only encouraging thing those of you who are Ollie out might have is the fact that, according to the board, leaked conversations from the board have said they expect Man United to challenge for the league title next season. Now, every man and his dog can tell you, Man United ain't ready to challenge for any league. If Liverpool get their house in order next season, if Chelsea with Tuchel buys 1 or 2 adds to that squad.
FFP as well. FFP.
Well, Chelsea. FFP is gone now, and actually it's gone. FFP, by the way, those of you who don't know, FFP, unfortunately, the capitalists have won again. The corporate greed has won again because of the COVID situation and the lack of money circulated in football. They've now relaxed FFP, and basically it just means you can spend whatever you want. So Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, all other clubs in the Premier League, Leicester can spend what they want, and there's no limit to that. So that's what I'm coming to, and I'll let the voice come in on what he thinks of the statements I've made and what he thinks about. You wanted to jump in before about Grealish.
Who's this?
Grealish, for me, is Donnie Van Der Beek for me was a weird signing. He wasn't on the radar at all. I wasn't anticipating a midfielder. And Jack Grealish, I mean, he's a guy that's been spoken about for a couple of years. And at 25 years old this season, he's starting to hit what he was potentially supposed to do this year. International level, I watched him against Belgium. He ran the game. He outshone everybody. He was magnificent. Mm-hmm. I watch him for Villa. He's playing in a team where he's by far and away the best player. I just adore watching this boy play. I think he's fabulous. And he's a captain and he's Premiership proven. So as far as I'm concerned, it's he's exactly what I'd love to see in this team. He's a player that, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Man United, Man City, he shines. He's not scared. And I think this team needs players that are not timid. They rise to the occasion and they thrive off it, and especially when the fans are back. So for me, play like that, if Pogba goes and we get him, I have no issues at all with that. None. So I know
How,
there's
how, how
obviously going to
confident are
be.
you though? How confident are you that Paul Pogba believes they'll use that money to pay for Grealish? That's my issue as well.
Well, Saeed, it's for me. I can't see into the future. But if he is going, then and you're saying who do we get to replace him? Well, there's a tailor-made player right there that we should go for. Whether we do or not, only God knows. But I like Donnie Van Der Beek as a person. I read his story, his backstory with his friend. I think the Ajax in him, he brings some qualities that Fred and McTominay don't have. He has the capacity to speed up Manchester United's play. But unfortunately for him this year, I find him a little bit timid and lacking that courage to take space when it's in front of him.
You call it timid. I call it lack of match fitness. That's what I call it. You call it timid, and I'll call it lack of match fitness.
Okay. All right, fair enough. But Donnie Van Der Beek, just to finish off, it was a weird signing. It was not a signing I anticipated, nor was I, get him or don't get him. I just accepted it and waited to see what he was going to bring.
Can I ask you a question? Is it a weird signing, or has the lack of culture made it look like a weird signing?
Well, look, the Donnie Van Der Beek thing, we had a podcast on here where I disagreed with the boys before the Leicester game. I look at Donnie Van Der Beek when he's played. I appreciate his qualities and why people would say he should play. But for me, my issue with him is not what he brings to the table. It's from a confidence perspective. It's getting up to speed with the Premier League. He doesn't look to me like a player that is expressing himself freely. He looks more like a player side that is terrified of making a mistake, and he's very timid. He needs to get into that team. There's places up for grabs, but you need a player that's courageous enough to steal a place and hang on to it. Those personalities as well, leadership personalities, guys. I'm starting to see Maguire come into his own, to be honest. He went through hell. He's coming into his own a little bit, Bruno, I see a guy there with leadership qualities. Cavani, elder statesman, he's good. But we need more of those types, because one thing I think I have to appreciate is that we have one of the youngest teams in the Premier League. I mean, we finished the game with Diallo, Greenwood, and Dan James, I think. These are babies still. So one thing that we have on our side, it's not always as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as you think it is. But one thing we have on our side, whether it's Solly or somebody else, is we have a team with a lot of mileage in it yet. A lot of mileage, where a lot of the clubs around us, you look at the players that they've got and they rely on heavily, they're now 28, 29. So this is a building process.
I think we need them players, brother. I'll be honest with you, man. I think we need players that are between 25 and 28, man. We need mentality in this squad. I think Ollie is relying on too many young ones, man. You know what I mean? And we're trying to get a juice out of a carton that's nearly finished. You know what I mean? We can't squeeze it out. That's the problem with Ollie. He's trying to squeeze out the carton that's already. You know what I mean? It's done now. Just leave it. You know what I mean? But he's not doing that. I think we need some players that in the mentality, in the right age, come in and that can rely on their ability. That sometimes you don't always have to babysit them. You don't always have to coach them in a way where they can make decisions for themselves. Maybe that's what we need with Ollie, because you think the football is not great. It's freestyle football. I said it 2 years ago. The football isn't great. So maybe you need players in the peak of their powers to come in, do a job for a couple of years, and try and get Ollie over the line. That's another solution, maybe.
Yeah, you
get
do.
some experience in there.
I agree with you. Look, you want to sign a player with a profile that is going to bring some personality to the squad. It is going to bring, whether he's 25 or whether he's 28. I don't have an issue with signing 30-year-olds. I didn't have an issue with Cavani, because these people like Zlatan and Cavani, these to me I don't look at them as panic buys and stuff. I'm looking at what are they bringing to the table. What they bring is something that we need in the dressing room, is an air of confidence and self-belief that they can bring to a dressing room that's not won anything. A dressing room where these players are part of a building process. They haven't got a legacy. They live in the shadow of Man United's past.
Yeah.
So we do need those characters. They are important. And if you look back at the great teams, we had a lot of them. You think of Vidic, Rio, the keeper.
Let me just say one point here, right? I agree with you to an extent in terms of you need that experience, but you need. We're talking as though our team is playing like good football. We've got a good structure, and we just need that final push. We're not even at that place yet.
Yeah, true.
So we're not.
The table don't lie, Mundo. The table don't lie. We're second place. Second place challenging.
No, look,
I look at that young Milan team. I look at that young Milan team that we just knocked out of the Europa League. I look across Europe and I see teams like Ajax. That's the type of conversation that they should be having. We've got a good young team. We play good football, but if you want to take that next step, we need to get that bit of experience, not a 40-year-old Zlatan, for example. When it comes to if Milan had that quality, they would have beaten us the other day. You know, because they were the better team for 2/3 of that tie, right?
We had that game.
Yeah, and they've got a young team, good players like Kessie, who we would kill for. We're talking like even Leicester City. If Leicester City had 1 or 2 additional players, they'll be above us in the league if they had the quality that we have.
We're only 1 point above.
Yeah, we're 1 point above them. We have got quality in our squad, like Paul Pogba is a World Cup winner. We've got Bruno. You drop Pogba or Bruno into Leicester and they're flying, right? The problem we've got, we need to stop talking about we need this guy or that guy. What I've said from the very beginning is with your coach, if you've got a coach who's worth anything, he's going to squeeze every last drop out of the players he's got already.
Absolutely.
And when people talk about the board not backing Ollie, I want to see Ollie extrapolate as much as he can from the players that he's got, and then I will be 100% behind Ollie and say it's on the board.
Can I just say something? Can I just jump in before you reply to the ghost? Can I just say something? If that was true, Mundo, why did somebody like Klopp, who's also a genius and who's heavily stylist footballer, why did he have to clear out 20 odd players in the 4 or 5 years that he's been there? Because if that's true what you're saying, is Ollie doing that though? Somebody like Klopp couldn't keep all of those guys. He kept a couple of them, but he had to let go a lot of the players. He had to clear out. He had to clear house.
You know, I get you. Yeah, he had to clear house to win, to get Liverpool over that line. But from within, it's like Tuchel now with Chelsea. Klopp was the same. Guardiola was the same. Guardiola, don't forget, they only finished above us on goal difference in his first season, right? And he had to buy a whole new defence, spent like 200 million on his defence. When Mourinho was complaining, saying he spending 50 million on fullbacks, and I'm not even getting strikers worth 50 million. But even though those teams were not winning trophies at the outset, you could see the direction of travel with those teams. They had a way of playing, right? And you could say, yes, each year you need to upgrade certain positions, and eventually this team is going to get over the line. The way that Manchester United are playing at the moment, you could buy prime Messi, prime Ronaldo, you can buy anyone you want. You drop them into that team, and that team still will not win trophies because of the way that they're playing. So that's why I say you can say whatever you want about transfers and players in this, that, and that position, but you've got to get the basics right. You've got to get your team with the players you've got playing in a certain style, and then you look at positions, upgrade, and then you take the next step and you start winning trophies.
Look,
that's just my view.
Look, just to come in here.
Managers.
Just
Can
to
we
come
name
in
a
here.
few managers? Sorry, go on.
Sorry, bro. Just to come in here, look. Nobody, I think, is contented if this is as good as it gets. I believe there has been progress at Manchester United, not just in the play, in aspects of the play, but in what Ollie's done in terms of, clearing house, getting this place in order from what he picked up, which was just a dead club. But I think if we're going forward on the premise that, they want him to win the league now and next season is a new year, let's see what happens in the transfer window. That'll tell you a lot about Murtaugh, Fletcher, what the ambitions of the club are. You'll be able to identify this stuff, guys, from what we sign and what we sell. You'll see it. How serious are we? It's like Mourinho came second, and then you got him Lee Grant, and I don't know who else you got him. That was not serious.
Fred Adalo.
Right. Yeah, okay, and you're going against 95 points, something like that. That's a joke. So you will be able to see the aspirations of the club and whether they're really following through, or if this entire thing is a facade just from what we signed. But on the basis that Oli is going to improve, and if you believe this guy is going to stay, and everyone agrees he has to improve, then at a certain point, you do need better players, whether we like it or not. Because this team, it is showing at the latter end of the season, is not equipped with the quality and depth to cope with multiple competitions. And imagine Bruno's injured. Then what?
Can I
Rashford's injured and Martial's. You know what I mean? It's you have to sign some players. You've got to give him some players. Yeah, go ahead.
Just look at the job that Brendan Rodgers has done, and it's remarkable. Yeah. You know, he on the weekend, let's not kid ourselves, had Maddison out, Sendix Under out, Pereira out, Harvey Barnes out. That's 4 key players for them, man. You know what I mean? And they still had an identity. That's my issue. You get any manager and any player in world football right now, the identity of Oli is not strong enough to adhere to a kind of position that we want to favour to be. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Teams are going to come with a style of play and outplay us. These guys, I don't know if you see that clip here on Twitter. It's going around on Twitter where Man United, I think it's the goal for Tielemans here. We were running around like it was like a circus. You know that song. You know that little theme tune goes. Benny Hill. Benny Hill. No. It's literally. Oh my God. That is literally what Man United are. So you can get any place in the world, man. You were talking about Donnie. These guys on the pitch were world-class players. Pogba. You're looking at Martial up top. These are players that Leicester would die for. But what have you got? You've got a manager who compensates that. That compensates the lack of players that they've got, that we've got. You've got a manager who could do that. That's the problem for me. You know, you look at Barcelona 8-0 against Bayern Munich. 8-0 we're talking about. How far are we away from that team that they put out there under that manager? You would think, right, that's a good team, that. They got beat 8-0. So how far are we away, brothers, man? If Barcelona are losing 8-0 with that team that everyone here would die for, and a manager who's a fairly technical manager, what's his name? He did well at Real Betis. Fairly technical, better than Ole. How far are we away, people, then? So for me,
Saeed,
you know what I mean? I just don't know, people. I just don't know.
Bro, look, don't forget what I said, yeah? What I'm saying is, we're all not thinking this is it. If this is it, then, of course, there's substance to what you're saying. But on the premise that we have to improve, this Fred McTominay's worked well this season. It's yielded probably the best results when we've been defensive and counter-attacking. Bro, look, I'm not saying
no. But this is where we stop now. This is where we stop.
No,
that for me has been the reason why might not progressed.
Look,
that's the reason.
That's something that we've stumbled across this year. And if you look at the big games where United have been good in terms of minimizing the opposition, winning games, getting results we don't expect to get, he's played with that. It has been effective, but it's not pretty. I want to be entertained. I had Mourinho.
Football is there to be entertained.
Exactly. But what I'm saying to you is, if you're going forward with Oli, yeah, and if we could see into the future and this was as good as it gets, then you could say, look, there's no point in giving him any more players if this is it. But we're going into this, and you know what? We can't choose the manager. He is what he is. I do believe, just from the aspect of having the ability to rotate quality for quality, to compensate for injuries and bring on people that can change a game, that is enough to say he does need players. But if he does get those players and it stays like this, then of course it's like, what the hell? But we do need them regardless, man. I mean, if Cavani goes, yeah, are you happy? Are you thinking we're going to get 85 to 90 points with Martial up front next year? No, it's not.
For me, I don't even think Martial's a problem, though. You know what I mean?
It's not about
we don't create. I'm sorry. I can't let that propaganda carry on.
No.
I've heard enough.
And then you look at the right wing.
I've heard enough.
Slide on that one in there.
I can't let that propaganda. I can't let that slide. By the way, guys, there's 120 of you in here. Please subscribe, like. We cannot build this community without you. We cannot build this community, and we cannot do this therapy session like we're doing now. Obviously, people are talking about, but the goals that when they were going in after, that's all I was hearing. That's all I was hearing. That's all I was hearing.
Can I say something about the
when the goals were going in? You know what? And I can just say, I will just say for a few seconds, Man United's chance conversion for the strikers or the forwards is absolutely abysmal compared to all teams that are in the top 10. The teams that are in the top 10, the conversion or the teeing up or the setting up or the passes that go into the box is absolutely shambles. And we cannot, one thing I would not say, I know the reason why, Ollie, I predicted it so. Aaron and Saeed were with me. I think I might have been on Saeed TV, and I might have been Mr. Aaron UTD. Shout out Aaron, shout out Flawless.
Shout out Aaron, shout out Flawless.
Yeah, shout out JV, Stro, that Dark and City crew. Shout out everybody. Man. Yeah, man. Listen, bits and bobs and everybody else. But what I would say is that when I said, after we got whacked 6-1 by Tottenham, Ollie's gone defensive. This is when we've seen the Jose Mourinho tactics. To me, Jose Mourinho sent us all in a dark place. Like I said, he sent me to prison in a hole, right? And we all had to climb out. That's why when Ollie at the wheel came out, because we were all climbed out of these holes that Ollie Mourinho dug for us and shoved us in. We were all seeing the daylight. You know, that's what it was.
It's like a relationship that you came out of a toxic relationship and you come in and you see the, you know what I mean, the woman.
I got romance. I got dance, mate. I got romance, mate. I got absolutely dazzled. You know what? It was almost like the Ghost. One of Ghost's favorite films is Scent of a Woman. I got dazzled by the scent of Ollie at the wheel, bro.
Yeah.
And Ollie's towards this season. Last season, I thought he'd been brilliant after the restart. We climbed out, and I understood why he had to overplay the players because the quality. And actually, towards last season, when you remember, Fred, Bruno, Pogba, they carried us over the line to finish third on goal difference. But this season, and last season, if you remember last season, we were more attacking because we created so many chances for our strikers. If you look at the chances we created after the restart for our strikers, that's why our compared strikers or forwards, if you'd like to call them, had 60 goals. We had more than Liverpool forwards. This season, I understand Martial is not being the same player. I understand that he's lacked confidence. I understand that. And I called it out. I called him out after the Seville one in Stoke Sitters. And I think that was the best game we've ever played. 90 minutes we played in terms of as a team, not as defense, not in bit parts, but as a team for 90 minutes. That was Ollie's best performance in that semi-final. But what I would say is this, as we're coming on just over an hour onto the show, I don't want to keep you guys. This has been a solution-based stream, a show. So I want to just ask you, after what the club are promising and everything, if we don't have that summer, if Ollie doesn't make the solutions, if Ollie doesn't listen, it doesn't have to be listened to us, but everybody can see, everybody who's a United fan can see, doesn't listen to himself and stops being stubborn and looks at himself in the mirror and think, how can I keep this job? How can I know in the DNA, that's the word, the DNA FC, innit? That's another thing we are, innit? DNA FC, you know what I mean? DNA FC. You would think this is some criminology we are. Honestly, it is a criminology FC. That's what
it is.
We
they need to pay for their crimes, man. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's how it is. But what I would say to you is that how long do you think Ollie will last? Knowing everything you know about the Glazers and not just the Glazers, forget the Glazers. They don't know anything about football. They just see money as a cash cow. Knowing that Matt Judge, director of negotiations, Ed Woodward,
Richard Arnold,
who are controlling, who are pulling all the gears, right? Knowing those guys, how many games or when do you think Ollie that pressure will build? And the Ollie inners will all have to admit sooner or later that Ollie ain't for the job.
I'm giving it October.
Not that we don't know because the job, the help is not there. How long do you think is it going to be into the next season, the season after? How long do you think, or do you think that they've set on a project and that they're giving him another 3 years. So
Can I just say,
I'll go with you. I'll go with you first. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
with
Go on.
me,
Yes.
bro, can I just say, I've heard you say many a time that the manager is almost irrelevant. He's as irrelevant as the president of the United States. He's just a picture on a box because the apparatus that surrounds him is not conducive to any sort of success. So it is very difficult when statements like that are said loudly and clearly, constantly, for anybody to rationally be able to look at a manager and say, hang on a minute, is it the manager? Was it Van Gaal? Was it Mourinho? Is it Oli? Nobody's seemingly lasting more than 2 years here. And we're not really progressing. We go forward, we go backwards. And we're spending a lot of money. The equation does not quite make sense when you actually think about it.
I agree on the last point.
You understand what I mean? So
I agree on the last point. I agree. Van Gaal had a style of play. He bored us to death. He had a style of play, though. I'll give it him.
Had a style of play.
Jose had a style of play, low block football, and we would counter-attack FC. Oli told us
what I'm saying to you
the TNA Manchester United manager. But quickly, before we get to the show, please sum up. How long do you think he lasts? Because the reason why the Oli outers want Oli out is the lack of style of football. Not the fact that Man United are, whether it's second or eighth, it doesn't matter to them. They want to see a style of football. So just on that purpose only, where do you think Oli is going to be? Obviously, and as you laid it out, that after not getting the backing, where do you think Oli, how long do you think Oli will last? Quickly.
On the premise that we do sign some players that will take the squad to a level where we can go and get 85 to 90 points and compete with the likes of City and be in all the competitions we are in. And if Oli continues to improve this team and we see that improvement, then I think he may stay, but this is a guy you're asking me who's learning on the job, who's done some good things. We've had some great performances, but we're just inconsistent. Our style of play that I see now, we press really well, squeezing teams up. The fullbacks are getting up there and they're catching their wingers on the halfway line. Before we were shitting our pants. We didn't used to do that. Yeah. And one thing with our team,
by the way, we've only started doing that in the last maybe 3 to 4 months, by the way.
But this is what I'm talking about, progress off the ball. And on the ball, with what we've got, man, we are a team, and we agreed and we spoke about this. When we go 1-0 up and we don't concede a daft goal, we are a dangerous proposition. We have strengths that can hurt anybody, and we have hurt big teams, and we deserve to take the points off big teams. But unfortunately, we struggle against the low block sometimes. And the people that are charged with making chances and unlocking that defense have a shit game way too often. And one thing I will say to finish off is Paul Pogba came to this club a while ago, and he's a good player. But Paul Pogba's performances were never scrutinised. Instead, what was being said is he's got to play as the pivot. We tried that. He can't play as part of a midfield too. Okay, we went to a 3. He can't play on the right. Do we keep making excuses for players, or do we have to concede and say, hang on a minute? Do you know what? You're charged with making players better around you. We pay you $300,000 a week and £90 million. Maguire the same. So if they're not performing, is it always the system they can't fit into? Because it's difficult. United fans are going to get lost at a certain point. And these questions are going to never be answered unless we become assertive and decisive in our expectation of a player, of a manager, of a board, because it's just past the buck at the minute. Is it Oli? No, it could be the board. Is it Pogba? No, it's the system. Well, where's the responsibility? Whereas you look at other teams, they do change formations. Pep's changed formation 3 times this season. Everybody plays. Leicester have played with 3 different formations. Everybody plays and thrives.
Of course. Listen,
we don't seem to be able to do it. So for me, I hope that he continues in the job. I'm a guy that wants to give this manager a 3rd year. Okay. And I want to see what we sign. And I'm optimistic. It could all go wrong within 3 months. I think this year the pressure is on. This is not a building process indefinitely. This year I'm expecting improvement in football, more consistency. If I see that in the first 3 months, I'll stay on board. If I don't, and I'm going to see Fred McTominay, the square as you call it, inconsistent results. You beat City, lose to Sheffield, then I'm going to start saying no. That's it.
Fair play. I'll come to you, Mundo.
I some of those points I agree with, but some of them I disagree with, because I think that
I don't want you to disagree what he said. He's had his say. I want you to tell me where, because we have to wrap up soon.
Okay.
Man United are gonna. Where do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? When Woodward's gonna press that button? When do you think he's gonna press that button?
Well, I think Ollie has got until Christmas. If he's not in the mix at Christmas, you know what's coming out in the press about certain board members meeting with Allegri in New York in the States. I think that he's only being backed by certain members of the board, and the pressure will build from other members who are not happy with what they're seeing, and he will be gone in December. And the reason why I don't feel confident about Ollie keeping his job any longer than that is because I don't think the board are going to back him in the summer. And what you're relying on then is Ollie's ability to coach the players and make the team better through coaching rather than relying on buying players. And I'm sorry, but if this was Mourinho, all the fans would be on him. Checkbook manager, he's not getting the best out of Martial, he's not getting the best out of Pogba. But because it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for some reason, some of our fan base give him a free ride and say, oh, but it's because the board's not backed him. I want to see some coaching. I want to see improvement in those players that we know, because we've seen, as the voice has said, we've seen United pull out performances against big teams. We've seen Martial, we've seen Rashford, we've seen Pogba put in performances. Why is it that they're inconsistent? Because they're not being coached the right way. There's no system. You're relying on individual ability, and players will be on form and off form. And when you're off form, you've got nothing to fall back on, i.e. a system of play. So unless Ollie sorts that out and gets in, it's not going to happen, because we know he's not going to get in coaches, experienced coaches to support him to get the team playing a certain way. There's only one way this is going to go, because this is not sustainable, the way we're playing it. Relying on Bruno. Bruno gets injured. That's it. Yeah. Rashford is broken. We've broken Rashford. Seriously. And he's going to go the same way as Rooney, and he's going to get burnt out. Because we've broken the guy.
I've heard a rumor today that apparently he's just gone there like a little bit of holiday to get out of Man United bubble, to be in the England bubble. So he's not going to play. Apparently, everybody knows that he's injured, so he's not going to play.
He's out for the 3 games. He's out.
Yeah. So he's just there. I think majority of teams have released their players so that they can just get away from club football and meet up with friends with the national team. So everybody went, I think. Everybody that needed to go from Man United who got called up has been, whether they're injured or not. That's the point to make. Saeed, I'm giving you the last word on this. My question is, how Mundo reckons he's going to go the same way as Jose. By December, it's all going to unravel, and it's good night Vienna. The voice also said, if he doesn't see what's happening next season, 3 months, he is coming out with his, not Oli Bumbaye, you know what I mean?
Oli Bumbaklat.
So I'll give you the last word. Where do you think Oli is going to end up after hearing that he's going to be given a new contract, another 2 years, plus 1 year optional extra? How long do you think he will last? How long do you think Woodward presses the button?
For me, I'm going to call it October. For me, I look at it and I feel like, for me, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea will storm the league next year. I feel like they'll create this little free league division. I think Oli won't be able to compete. I think he'll fall short, and I feel like eventually, people will say, "I told you so," innit? You feel me? And I just look at it. I think for me, this is just a lost cause, man. You know what I mean? You might as well just break it up right now in the summer. Get a preseason under a top manager. Let's not do the damage late, because the problem is, man, if you do the damage in October and you sack him then, you know what I mean, in the end of the season, you're just gonna get another Lampard situation where Tuchel is having to save and kind of, resurrect the league and try to tear, you know what I mean? Try and get the league and try, find a way of getting that back. So I'm going to call it October, man, for me, because end of the day, if it was up to me, I'd get him gone after the Europa League. Even if he wins the Europa League, I still want him sacked. That's where I'm on. You know what I mean? I'm one of them. I still believe, you get me, it's not good enough for this football club.
Remember where you are. This is a
It's on borrowed time. It's on borrowed time for me. No, for me, it's on borrowed time. You get me? You can have his little borrowed time. But eventually, I still believe he'll be gone by October. He has to be October, mate. You know what I mean? So get ready, man. We might have the nice birthday party in October.
Well, I don't know about that. Anyway, one thing I would say, that from everything that I'm seeing from the outside, I see, just to round up, everything I'm seeing from the outside, it looks like with a plan of this smoke and mirror structure they put in place, that I'm happy to be proven wrong. Every Man United football fan wants to be proven wrong. That those three Muppets are not wielding the power at United. If there was real power, I've looked at the structure. We'll do a show next week on here again, hopefully with Saeed, Mundo, The Voice, and get a couple of others as well, where we will talk about where I've got the actual copy of the structure of Man United to literally break down where things are and how things are happening. I think Ollie will struggle, and they will, when the fan base all goes in, all in one, I think it will end in disaster, and I think it will be really bad for Ollie. I think maybe Ollie might not care. He might be happy for that payout. I can see them paying it out. But from the outside, it looks like through thick and thin, I think they're going to hold on to Ollie because, like I always said with Ollie, they will always appreciate Ollie being there because Ollie has half of the fan base, or more than half of the fan base, emotionally on his side. So that's the reason why. And the Glazers will always like to divide and rule. Woodward, Matt Judge, and the rest would always divide and rule the fan base. And that's how they keep control. Divide and rule, and that's how you keep control. Divide and rule. That's been the strategy. I can't see them backing him. And I actually think this summer we might lose a lot of players. Bruno are still not committed. I know a lot of you were in the comments. I can't come to the comments because I've had 3 other guests on tonight, and we've had to get into this. We had to unpack the Ollie situation tonight. But Bruno has been magnificent. He's been overplayed. That's why his form is dipped, like Rashford. Without him, I don't know where we would be without Bruno. So I'll come to that. But when his form is dipped and he's tired, he looks just like another average footballer. And that is a fact. But when he's got energy and he's on fire, he is incredible. He's been absolutely incredible. But from the outside, I can see they might stick more than a book because they've got us where they want them. Divide the fan base. And that toxicity can only get more and more and more, where a lot of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer inners might have to go, I've had enough of this. But anyway, guys, there's been more than 100 of you in here consistently throughout the show tonight. Like I said, I cannot build this community. This is the therapy session. This is the unpacking that what Ollie means now, what Ollie's contract is going to be, what we all talked about, what we all heard through the memory, all of this Neil Ashton giving it to a couple of journalists here and there. 1 minute is 9 million, next minute is 10 million, setting the man up to be here for another 2 seasons. I think it can all unravel, and I can think it could be really sad. Because Mourinho, I didn't care about him. Ollie, I do care. Because he has given me the greatest night of being a Man United fan. That goal at Barcelona is very difficult for me to take that out of my heart. I want him to do well, but as I always call it as I see it. No agendas here. Ollie has lately, since that 6-1 against Tottenham, has made fundamental errors at Man United. And the only he can recover. Only he can sort out what's going on because he's been placed with the power. And if he doesn't, then it's only going to end one way. And Woodward and those guys will pull that trigger like nobody's business. So I'm thinking maybe towards the end of next season. I doubt that unless they've got somebody else to plan.
Oh, gosh.
I think that they will end it next May. I think they will wait till next May. I think that's what I believe. I could be totally wrong. You could be right, Mundo. The Voice could be right, and Saeed calling for October. Like he wants to go to the beer fest, innit? Celebrate like he said, like his birthday. Like
Listen, man, you know what I mean? For the birthday, man.
Anyway, can you please let them know where you are, please? Can you let them know where you are? Let them know where the people can find you, please. Saeed. He's frozen.
Yeah, man.
Go on.
Yeah.
Man.
Saeed TV, as you can see right there, you know what I mean? Subscribe to the channel. But yeah, man, make sure you support Nuruddin, man. Real United therapy, the only therapy you're going to get about my United. So big up, man. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. Mundo, where can people find you?
You can find me at Mighty Mundo, and yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow Mr. Structure United Real Therapy. Big up to the show. Always getting into it, talking true facts. No, there's no sugarcoating on this channel.
no, whatsoever. No, those of you who know us, we don't do no sugarcoating. No sugarcoating here, and we always call it as we see it. Our opinions vary. The voice, Oli Bumbaye.
You can find me at Nice and Spice in Rusholme.
One of the chefs. The voice will be revealed. Hopefully, one of these times. If United win a trophy this season, the voice will be revealed.
Have to wait a long while for that one.
If Ollie wins the trophy, the voice will be revealed. And you know what? Least but last, to all of you guys, thank you so much, because without you, we could not really sustain the channel, and we cannot grow the channel. And hopefully, I'm going to be doing a show on my own in the next couple of days, most likely in the weekend. And what I will be doing is I will be having a phone in. And if you want to join in, it doesn't have to be on my own, but if you want to join in, guys, you can as well. We'll have a phone in. Most of you who follow me on Twitter, I will put the Twitter up, and then hopefully I'll follow you back. Then you can I will drop you a link, and you can have a video call where you can give me your opinions, everything that's concerning Man United. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mighty Mundo. Thank you, Saeed TV. Thank you, the ghost, known as Oli Bumbaye. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Everything close. Everybody wants Oli to do well. Oli is all of it is in his hands. It's up to him now, really.
Not
it's
me.
up to him. But we cannot. Yeah, well, even if I think you're quite fair, Saeed. Regardless what social media is saying, I think you're quite fair, and I think that if Oli got his act together and took apart a lot of the solutions.
You know, I told you Nuruddin, man. I told you Nuruddin. The way I compare with Oli, man, it's like a guy who owed me money 2 years ago, and now I see him on the street, and I don't want that money back, man. I just want him to, to leave.
Wow, the honor has been breaking. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and please subscribe to Mighty Mundo. Follow Saeed. We're on to 30,000 Saeed TV, guys. Road to 30,000. I think we're 1,500 short. So please leave this. Hit on Mundo on Twitter. You'll hear his football opinions. If those of you are in Manchester, get down to Rusholme and you'll see the voice there. He's one of the chefs in one of the top restaurants in Rusholme. You'll see it.
I was taught by Dino.
Wow. Anyway, peace, love, light. The therapy is here. Come back again. Until next time, love, light.
Good night, boys.